Eagles Entertainment.
Welcome, Eagles everywhere, to the Eagles Insider Podcast presented by Lincoln Financial Group. Insider Dave Spadaro with you as we kind of look toward July and think about this 2020 football season in whatever shape, fashion, form it appears. All keeping our fingers crossed, hopeful for the very best. Now, the Eagles have rebuilt their defensive secondary with the addition of Darius Slay, with the addition of Nickel Roby-Coleman, Will Parks coming in as a hybrid safety, retaining a couple of very key players, Jalen Mills, as well as Rodney McLeod. The Eagles also keeping Cre'Von LeBlanc. And in just a moment, we're going to visit with LeBlanc, who had such a star-crossed 2019 season. Hurt in training camp. Day one, he wasn't activated until late in the season. Played very little, 84 snaps, until the playoff game against Seattle. Did a nice job there. And then all of a sudden, he looks up and he's got competition for this year in the form of Roby-Coleman. He'll talk about the new look secondary in just a moment. Later in the show, we're going to talk to Jeff Hobson, Bengals.com. The Cincinnati Bengals and number one overall pick Joe Burrow are the Eagles' opponents in Week 3 at Lincoln Financial Field. A 2-14 team one season ago. Don't overlook the Bengals. Not with A.J. Green, Joe Mixon, and a quarterback that many believe will be the next superstar in the National Football League. Let's go to the Eagles secondary to begin this podcast, one-on-one with Cre'Von LeBlanc. How have you been in this crazy offseason?
Oh, man, what a start. I've been in West Palm Beach, downtown in Florida. Just me and my mom, and we just been trying to stay virus-free, COVID-19 free out the way. I've been grinding, working out, utilizing what I can when, all the gyms and parks was down. Now that everything is getting a little more lenient and open now with curfew, we able to do a lot more. And, we just been on virtual, getting it in with the guys, with the team, special teams meeting, team meeting, and our position meetings. We do our lift on there with Josh, and everything's been flowing smooth, man.
How much do you miss being at NovaCare and just being around the guys? I mean, that's what you miss most of all, right?
Absolutely, because when you in the locker room with the guys, you have the jokes, you have the chemistry, you have the early morning, late nights, you have the practices, the hard practices, and just certain type of tools that go into different type of schemes that we have to play on the field, and just learning that together just create this certain type of bond with each other. And that's probably what I miss the most, just with the guys in the locker room. Yeah, I would say that's pretty much it.
Do you miss, Cre'Von, being on the field? And I know there's no tackling and none of that, but I mean, it still is football. Do you miss going through all that routine as well?
Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I love football. So anytime it's about ball, it have no limits on it. Sky's the limit for me. So with that being said, just being on the field with the guys in the team, I definitely miss that the most. Being at NovaCare, so many resources that you can use with the ice tub, hot tub, steam room, sauna, everything's right there. You get your shakes and everything you need, and even the food prep. So it's it's sad and it sucks that we can't be in the building right now, but we've been growing every day on virtual and connecting through that way. So, I mean, that'll work for now.
What kind of stuff, I know that the work, what for fans, I don't think fans really know, Cre'Von, what kind of workouts do you do? How close are you able to mimic what you did at NovaCare? And do you feel that you're getting into the kind of shape that you would normally be in the middle of June?
Well, it just felt like we hit off-season training earlier this year, and it's lasting a little longer, right before you have to head into camp. So, I mean, without us having OTAs or doing anything like that. And then evidently, when we have OTAs and it's at the facility at NovaCare, it's more organized and structured well. And, we didn't have that. So only thing that I can do is just mimic similar things that we do at NovaCare that I know works for me, whether it's backpedaling or going over the plays or, meeting up with Coach M and Dino to just talk football, or calling up one of the guys, Rod, Jay Mill, or Slade, Vontae, and just talk football or how he see this and that. You know what I'm saying? Just certain ways like that is how I've been getting better mentally. And then just as far as like things on the field, conditioning wise, Josh sent us a certain amount of yardage that we have to hit every week, and it's broken down each day on whether it can be 3,000 yards, 3,500 yards, and we accomplish that throughout the week. So he makes sure that we get in the proper type of distance and training that we need.
Cre'Von, your 2019 season was so up and down. You battled back, coming back from the injury. You come back, you play, then you don't play. Then you play a lot against the Giants and the Seahawks, and you play really well. How did you did you sit around and go and think about what you learned about yourself during that very tough year?
Absolutely, man. It just taught me a lot of patience, just to slow a lot of things down. Obviously, when you hurt and you're looking from the outside in, the only thing you can be is a support system for, the guys who are playing, or things that you see that some of the guys might not see, that you can throw a little nugget here and there in the DB room, you know what I'm saying? Or I saw this today, when they get in a 2x2 set, no matter, what the case may be, they do this route, things like that. So I learned that about myself. And every day I was just itching to get out there with the guys. Like, it's like you want to be a part of what's going on, and you really can't, because due to lack of physicality, and just being on the field. And once you get back, now you have to focus on, well, I'm back, but I can't go full speed 100, like, you know what I'm saying? And you don't want to regress and backtrack. You want to always keep taking that step forward with the proper rehab process. And once you keep improving, you just stack them days, stack them bricks, man. And once you keep stacking them, it's gonna come together real nice. And like you seen towards the end, the Giants game, just being out there and letting it flow, not thinking about my injury, and just going out there and playing the game.
I gotta say, you sound really upbeat and happy. All things considered, you get to spend more time with your mom. I hear the dog in the background. It's okay. We count our blessings at this point, I guess.
Yeah, man. I kind of take it as, with the whole social media thing and how big and fast that's growing, and everybody on the iPhones and phones, we kind of, lost our morals as far as just hanging out with the family, or, being too busy to have a family dinner, or go to the movie and just have that quality time. And, sometimes we all not fortunate enough to have that due to our jobs when it's time to work, because, everybody's coming from LA, Florida, different type of places all over to come back to Philly and work, and you be here for 4 to 5, 6 months, however long. And, so now it's like you finally get that time with your family, and you just cherish it and, continue to build and grow.
Cre'Von, what has it been like trying to build chemistry in a virtual world? Like, you're only 25 years old, so for you it's probably not that weird. Has Doug and the coaching staff been able to keep that bond going even though you guys are all separated?
Absolutely, man. You already know, just our team chemistry alone, we are already close-knit as it is, just being a part of the Philadelphia Eagles organization. And being that we had to do it this year virtually, just seeing, at first it was kind of like, we want to see how it's going to work. And now that, we done put a couple weeks in and a couple months in on the virtual thing, now it's like, okay, well, it's certain things that we can cover on virtual and do on virtual. It's just phenomenal. Like our numbers drop and buzz drops as a defender, you know what I'm saying, in our coverages and certain coverages that we have. Like, we are recorded when we are conditioning on the field or whatever and send it in to Coach M and Dino and Coach Tim and have them guys look over it. And then once we send it to their phone, Coach M will have Pat put it in a Dropbox, and, like, we can kind of, like, watch each other and, you know what I'm saying, teach each other, you know. So I feel like that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I just feel like it's a whole bunch of different personalities in our room. In the DB room, it's funny. We have a good time, and when it's time to work, we work.
So let's talk about that. First, Coach M is Marquez Manuel, the new defensive backs coach. What is his style like?
Well, you know, Coach M, he was a player. You know, played for, I think, 9 years, nine.
Very, very good player. Yeah.
Very, very good player. You know, I know that he used to coach for the Atlanta Falcons back when I think they had went and played New England in the Super Bowl, and then he didn't coach last year. Now that he's here, and just Coach M, he understands the players. You know, he understands what's going on. He teaches us. He can talk from our point of view as well, as far as just being on the field, and he can just simplify different terminologies and things and different type of plays that we have to learn. So with that being said, like, his coaching style is kind of like Coach Doug coaching style. Like, you know, Coach Doug played in the league. Like, he's coachable. He's friendly, like, with the players, and, like, you know, he never folds up under pressure.
I have a feeling that Coach M's going to be pretty intense when you guys get on the field. He seems like that kind of he seems like somebody who really gets into it, man. Like, he really, almost like Stout in a way, very emotional into it.
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
we already got a couple bets going, man. Like, he already talking about he can still dunk, and he already, you know, saying, like, he do his normal videos and workouts to where, like, he can probably do one of the exercises that I was just telling you about we sent to him.
He thinks he can still play.
You know, yeah, basically he thinks he's still playing. Like, he's like one of the guys. So
that's good.
So, and I can tell he's super competitive, being that, like, you know, he's from Miami, so he's a Florida cat, and, like, it's just gonna be all fun.
Yeah. Hey, what are the new guys like? What is Darius like, and what is Nikhil like, and how about the young guy Cre'Von? What do you think of all these, and you know, with Will coming, what do you think of all these new players coming to the secondary?
Man, I can tell you one thing that they all have in common, man. All of them can ball. You know what I'm saying? If you just simple X's and O's, if you draw that up and you put those guys on the field, all those guys can make plays, and you know, it's no denying that. And just being in the room, in the meeting with the guys virtually, it's crazy just to see, like, different personalities in the room. Like, you know, like Robe, like he a laid back, cool, funny guy, and Will, like, he more uppity and, like, in tune, like, and just like, yo, like, I'm here, and, like, you know what I'm saying. And I was in Detroit with Slay, you know, so me and Slay already have chemistry, and Slay the same way, like, gamer, obviously. You know, play video games. He crack jokes here and there. You know what I'm saying? He all around cool cat, and super competitive. So that'll be real fun to have in the room too as well. You know what I'm saying? Just some more competitive guys who gonna lay it all on the line.
What's going to be different about, everybody's talking about positionless players? I mean, they planning to play 5 and, I don't know, 6 defensive backs on the field at one time. Like, you anticipate a lot of players coming in and out and different looks and different personnel groupings?
I mean, it's only one way to find out, man, and we're a month away from it. And only thing I can say is we do have, you know, a good amount of guys who play various positions and are key assets to the team. You know what I'm saying? Like I've played corner and nickel. Jay Mills played corner, nickel, and now he's, you know, can convert into safety. He played safety in college. Vontae, he played corner, nickel, and safety for the Eagles. Slade, he can play inside and outside. You have Cre'Von, who can play safety, nickel, quarter role, and maybe even some dime. And then you got Will, who, can do the same thing, who can play safety, nickel, corner. Like, everybody is interchangeable. And, like Coach M say, like, they look at us all as X's, because no matter if he put Avonte at corner, me at nickel, and Jay at safety, or me at corner and Nikhil Roby at nickel and Cre'Von at safety, or Will at nickel, you know what I'm saying? It's very interchangeable in different ways and looks that we can, mix it up. So I think that's going to help us out too.
I love that. Can't wait. Can't wait till football starts. Hey, the final thing here, Cre'Von, the George Floyd incident and everything that's happened, and your feelings on how the Eagles have handled that, how Doug, I know Jeffrey jumped on a team meeting. Mm-hmm. Do you think that there's been a good understanding of that from the coaching staff and from the ownership, and how they've talked about that with the players?
Man, I love it, man. They've been really involved with the whole George Floyd situation. And I think Zach and Wentz actually said some words and comments about what was going on in the world and how severe, things were playing out. And they said that, they're willing to do whatever and link up, and togetherness is everything. And I, commend those guys for that. I truly commend Mr. Lurie for the comment and statement that he put out. And it just shows a lot about, our team, character, and the guys that we have in the building, and that everything, means just as much, no matter the color, like, you know what I'm saying? So, with that whole situation, it was just great to just see that they was, willing to rock with us, behind us 100%, and just really felt what we felt. And, at the end of the day, wrong is wrong and right is right.
Right on. And, I got you on that.
And actually, I came up here the past 4 days. Like 4 days ago, I got here Friday. Friday. Here.
Oh, you're back in Philly?
Yeah, I've been here in Philly since Friday, working out with Rod and Will. So we was able to come together and catch the back end of a protest a couple of days ago. Me, Will, Rod, Avonte, and Dallas. But
Oh, so you actually went out to the protests?
Yeah, we actually did. We went out.
Nice. What did you think? What did you think of it? Impressive, right? How many people were out there, and everybody's out there for one cause.
A lot of people, man. A lot of people involved, and all you can just, once you see it, whether if you're in person or watching it from your television, is just one word come to mind is unity, and you see that, and you praise that, like, you know what I'm saying? So with that being said, me and Rod and Dallas and Avonte, we went out yesterday trying to go to catch another protest, but I think they was all done at the end of it, so I think we had just missed it. But yeah, man, anything counts, anything a step forward to the cause, and just to bring some awareness to the situation and what's going on is very important in any way, size, shape, or form that I can help towards that.
Indeed. Hey, last one for you. What did you learn about yourself, Cre'Von? Did you become, for example, a good cook, or did you learn to make your bed better, or become a reader? What did you do during the height of being shut down, locked down, quarantined? What skill that you maybe didn't know you had came to the forefront?
I would definitely say, man, I really found out about myself that I got some good dance moves. I can really you know what I'm saying, without coming up the mob. But I actually put a TikTok on my Instagram too, with this one dance. It was pretty cool. It went viral. It had 50,000 views.
Okay. Where if Eagles fans find you on TikTok and Instagram and anywhere on social media?
Yep. I follow the Eagles on TikTok.
Okay. I want the fans to follow you. I want to see these dances after you have interceptions and running back for touchdowns next year.
Oh, yeah, I definitely been thinking a lot about that. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot cooking up for the fans, you know. I got to bring that energy, you know, that spark that we need. So I'm down for it, and I just can't wait. We are on the way.
I can't wait. Hey, Cre'Von, thank you so much, man. Stay safe, and we'll see you back at NovaCare soon.
Already. Thank you. Thank you, Dave.
Appreciate it, man. Take care.
Yep.
It is time for our first look at the Cincinnati Bengals. Glad to have with us from Bengals.com senior writer Jeff Hobson. And Jeff, I guess the reward after a very, very difficult 2019 season is the first pick in the overall draft. I mean, it starts a new era. It's Joe Burrow's time in Cincinnati. What is the feeling among the people who have seen him in college about what this young fella can do in 2020?
Dave, thanks for having me on. They feel like they got the best guy who had maybe the greatest season ever in college football. Still a rookie, but they really feel like they got the next big thing because, you know, he's you go right down, he checks all the boxes, starting with the work ethic and the brains. He can move around, you know, and he can and he's a high percentage passer who can make all the throws. So, you know, they think that he translates very well. They've had him, they've only had him in Zoom. They've never had him under center, but they feel like he's got the leadership qualities and the stuff in the pocket, the right stuff in the pocket. They feel like this guy can put him into the next era.
You know, it's interesting when you go from one quarterback to another. You know, everything changes. The dynamic of the building changes, and you haven't experienced that yet. How will Zach Taylor bring him along? Is it a crash course, Jeff? I mean, you've been there a long time. How do you get Joe ready for September?
I think that's a real great observation, Dave. I think you got to let Joe be Joe, you know, and Joe is an alpha male. He's a guy that won't back down from anything. We've already seen that in a couple of public comments on a couple of different issues. Hasn't been afraid to back down. So you let him take the building. And I think what's interesting is that they have a penchant for being able, you know, to pick quarterbacks that can play right away. I mean, we're in the middle of a ridiculous time here, this pandemic. We've never had it before. Yet when Andy Dalton was drafted in the second round in 2011, that was the lockout. He didn't get a chance to look at the playbook with A.J. Green and offensive coordinator Jay Gruden until the first day of training camp. And Dalton became the first rookie quarterback in history to throw 20 touchdown passes and win 9 games and take his team to a playoff. Now, I'm not saying they're going to be able to do, but it has been done. And I think with Burrow, they feel like they've got a guy who is already an alpha male, knows how to, you know, has gone through the gamut. He's won the Heisman, won the national championship. The guy's got pelts on the wall, and like you said, whenever the quarterback leaves, there's a vacuum in the building, and he can fill it because he already has. It may have been on the collegiate level, but it was on the highest level that there is.
And it's interesting, when Carson Wentz came into Philadelphia, I mean, it changed everything. And he led by example, and he worked so hard. He was the first one in, last one to leave. Everybody, I felt, in the organization picked up their game to stay pace with Carson. And it sounds like Joe Burrow's got just that innate ability from a leadership standpoint, from a winning tradition. And he's got some pieces, Jeff, around him that I think people forget about the Bengals. 2-14 season last year. But when you've got A.J. Green coming back after missing last year, and Boyd and John Ross, and you've got weapons there, do you anticipate this offense to lead the way for Cincinnati in 2020?
Oh, no question. It's better than people think. I mean, never has a top 5 quarterback, since they've been doing the common draft since 1967, even before we started covering football, Dave. Even in 1967, no top 5 quarterback has what Joe Burrow has at his disposal, which is 2 multiple 1,000-yard receivers in A.J. Green and Tyler Boyd, and a 2-time 1,000-yard rusher in Joe Mixon. great place for a rookie to start. Very clearly, if AJ's healthy, this is an offense to be reckoned with. I mean, they've been trying to grapple with the lot. I mean, AJ basically hasn't played the last 24 games because of injury. So, what offense, would be able to put it together without an AJ Green? So they feel like getting Green back with Mixon. I think Green and Mixon have been on the field 5 times in their career, and where Joe ran it 20 times, they're 5-0. So wow. Obviously the Burrow has got a lot to work with, more than people think.
Week 3, September 27th at Lincoln Financial Field. A great matchup to watch will be the Eagles' defensive line, which they've improved greatly with Javon Hargrave, against the Bengals up front. How is Cincinnati's offensive line shaping up?
I tell you what, that's going to be that is just the exclamation point on what is going to be a brutal first month for the offensive line. Open with San Diego, then go to Cleveland, then sitting there with that great Eagles front. And let's face it, it's a work in progress. They went through 5 left tackles last year. None of them, the guy they drafted in the first round last year, Jonah Williams, rookie, the first offensive lineman taken, missed the entire season with a shoulder injury. So everything begins with him at left tackle. They're fairly well. They went out, they helped themselves. They got Suafilo in free agency, who's going to be their right guard. Bobby Hart, they believe, has played winning football at right tackle. The left guard is Michael Jordan, is going to be a second-year player who they feel like is a guy on the come. And Williams has to put it together for him at left tackle. So clearly, and that they get a lot. They get their. Jordan's going to have his work cut out for him in those first 3 weeks with Bozer and Myles Garrett, and then the coming into Lincoln. So no question that will be the matchup of the game, Dave. It will be that Eagles front versus that Bengals offensive line that they hope is going to be a lot better than it has been the last couple of years.
I know that we're just kind of guessing because we haven't seen anything on the field in the spring, but what can you tell me about the Bengals on defense, Jeff?
They're different. That's all I can tell you. They have a potential, that first third down on the September 13th, they could potentially have 7 new players. They went and they signed five defensive starters in free agency who are going to be out there for sure on third down. And then in the draft, they grabbed a linebacker, Logan Wilson, who's going to be a player for them. They got DJ Reader in free agency. He's one of the best young nose tackles in the game. The middle linebacker is from the Ravens, Josh Bynes, a Ravens defense that finished 5th in the league against the run. And they got three solid, experienced defensive players in the secondary with Trey Waynes and Mackenzie Alexander in the corner and the slot, respectively, and a new safety in Von Bell. So they're remade. That's for sure. This will be a different defense, and it has to be a different defense because the last 3 years, no one's given up. No one has taken more snaps, and no one's given up more rushing yards in this defense the last 3 years. They certainly spent a lot of money to improve that.
Jeff, how did Zach Taylor, the brother of Press Taylor from the Eagles coaching staff, how did Zach handle his first year as a head coach?
Thought he came out. I thought he handled it as well as he could. He, right away he doesn't have AJ Green. AJ Green gets hurt in the first 45 minutes of training camp. Doesn't have his best player. Doesn't have his first draft pick. Jonah Williams he got hurt in late May. So he just didn't have he just didn't have people. They ran a terrible gamut of injuries. It was Green. John Ross missed the other starting wide receiver missed 8 games out of the gate. It was tough. I thought he kept the team together. I must say he kept the team playing hard. That's hard to do when you're 0-10 and you're 1-14. These guys were playing. These guys were going balls out. I would say you get that game in Miami in Week 16, the overtime game, and they lost it. It's the game that ended up giving them Burrow, but only team in history to score, I think, 16 points in the final 29 seconds to tie or win a game. there's some coaching going on there. So I think, Zach just needs some weapons.
Should be interesting. Jeff, let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that we see you in Philadelphia September 27th.
Sounds great. It will always be tough in Lincoln.
Yeah, man. We hope so. Hey, Jeff Hobson, Bengals.com. Thanks so much.
Thanks, David.
That will do it for this Eagles Insider podcast presented by Lincoln Financial Group. If you have a moment to give us a review, please do so. We've included a link in the details section of the bio here in your podcast library. So we appreciate all of your feedback. Thank you very much for being part of this once again. Thanks to Ray Doyle and Peter Kelly for putting it all together. And thanks to you for joining us each and every episode. As we move into the 4th of July week, it's vacation time for the Philadelphia Eagles. But we're back next week, and it's going to be a good one. I ask 5 reporters covering the Eagles, what's your biggest concern as you look ahead to this 2020 season? Make sure you're with us next week to hear their responses. I'm Insider Dave Spadaro. Thanks again, everybody. Have yourselves a great Eagles day, and fly, Eagles, fly.